Now that might seem like an odd title for a video, but bear with us. About 6 months ago we made a video on the pathways that just stopped, and we tried to get to the stopping point and find out why they stopped. But in 75% of the cases we could only get halfway along those pathways, or not even at all. This is the story of the pathways that just vanish. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rebecca, and this video is sponsored by Blinkist today. Thank you very much.
So the first thing that we wanted to... Rebecca? Yeah.
Before we show you some more vanishing pathways, we wanted to check out one that we actually reported in the last video.
So one of those pathways that we reported to Wiltshire Council using their wonderful little app was this one, West Lane, sort of southwest of Devizes, and we tried to get to the end of it and it just stopped halfway because somebody had put some metal railings across, so we couldn't even make halfway along it. So let's go and have a look now and see if anything has changed in the 6 months. Have the council managed to reopen it? Oh, so this is good, and if I'm brutally honest, unexpected. Bravo to Wiltshire Council, well done, because they've actually got those the farm back there to move those huge trellises that were there last time, blocking the pathway. You'd literally had to have climbed them when we came here last time. They've actually moved it. This pathway is now, or bridleway, is now as open as it has been in the last 20 or 30 years. I feel like we've done some good there.
Yeah.
So we've had a bit of success, but not completely. We thought we'd done quite well because the obstacle had been removed, which is good. We've come a bit further along the pathway and it's blocked. We're not at the end of the pathway. It should go a lot further, another 300 or 400 yards. That's a fence. It's been there a long time. It's barbed wired. So we can't actually get to the end of where we should be able to. So we'll put this down as another grumble. So before you join us
On the ground, let's show you an example of what I mean from the comfort of our own home.
Okay, so this is Salisbury Plain. Now, a few old routes are still mapped here and they remain on the definitive maps. That's important. Now, I assume that they went north and stopped, well, basically because of the military area there, but actually it looks like they stop on the Wiltshire-Hampshire border, so that's a bit different. You know, sadly, no such route exists on the ground, as you can see by these Google images. Instead, you've got these signs, well, you really don't want to cross across those. Okay, so before we look at some real on-the-ground examples of exactly what we're trying to do today, so a very quick word from today's sponsor. Now, Rebecca, if I blink at any point, you're not going to do that weird trick with a dog again, are you?
No.
Okay, so let's talk about Blinkist. Blinkist is an app we've been using for a long time now, and it allows you to take away the most important things from over 5,000 non-fiction books and podcasts.
So who do you want to be in 2023?
That's a great question, because at the start of the year, you may recall I had the big whiteboard out and I started drawing like a roadmap, what I wanted to achieve this year, not just videos, but sort of self-improvement, that sort of thing.
So this is where Blinkist can help, because no matter what you want to improve on, whether you want to be a better communicator, a better parent, any other self-improvement things.
Absolutely, and do you know what? It turned out what I think my biggest issue was procrastination. I'll be sat editing and unconsciously I'll be checking my phone or I'll open a new browser. Blinkist has helped me understand this better with a book by Burker and Ewan called Procrastination. It allows you to read the important takeaways, allow you to feel okay about procrastination, giving yourself a break, and then moving forward and how to improve your focus.
Blinkist now has a new feature, which is
Blinkist Connect,
where 2 different accounts can share at no extra cost.
You're probably wondering now, Paul, Rebecca, exactly how can I get hold of this super duper app? The app that isn't designed to replace books and things, but actually it's designed to help you see what the most important features of those are.
Click the link in the doobly-doo below and you get 30% off. Blinkist Premium and a special 2-for-1 membership. So click that link and you also get a 7-day free trial. Go on.
Sounds good to me. Now we promise you vanishing pathways. We've already seen the example of the one online, but there's only one problem with that. But that was military, so we can't really grumble about the military in Salisbury Plain unless that's a video in its own right. However, my assertion remains at the moment that if you find on an OS map one of these pathways that just stops, well, I reckon you can't get down it at all. That is my assertion. So we've identified 2 more on an OS map that just stop. And I'm going to gamble that I can't get down, or we can't get down, either of those pathways. No research whatsoever prior to this. We've just identified those 2 on a map. Let's see if we can get down them.
Oh, so I'll get your leg up there, innit? Crikey. Oh. Get out of my bag.
Been followed.
It's after food.
I mean, we'll keep around the edge of the field because that seems like the most sensible thing to do.
Yes.
Right, so you join us west of Romsey, near the Hampshire-Wiltshire border, which is key to a lot of these pathway mysteries. And as I said, number 1, we've identified a pathway that just stops. So, going with my hunch, can we get along it? Right, so hunch, kind of true, and that where the pathway starts, well, there is no sign and it's been damaged quite considerably to the point that we've ripped our jeans on the barbed wire trying to get over it. And the pathway right now goes between us up to the corner of those trees. There's no pathway there, it's just complete field. So you'd have to walk across the farmer's crops, which is not a nice thing to do to get to it. We're kind of 50% right on this one.
Yeah.
We've got another one to look at.
Okay, let's
go.
So where are we now?
Right, well, we're somewhere new that we've not been before. We're near a place called Earthfont, which actually is near the middle of Wiltshire. So, what I want to show us, and our lovely viewers today, is a few wonderful little features, something absolutely beautiful, which I've seen in someone else's video. So here is an OS map of our location, and you'll note 3 parallel pathways. We're on the north, or the top side of these. We want to get to here. X marks the spot. So from the north side, where we are now, right, so we want to turn left here, or southwards, on the middle of those 3 pathways. And I think going through there is the way we want to go. Okay. Because then we get over the other side of the railway. Okay, so we can see the railway up ahead of us. We're now walking southwards through the field. Interestingly, there are no footpath signs here whatsoever. Now, what we have done this morning is we have checked the definitive rights of way map for Wiltshire, and this is definitely still a path. The feature that I want to show you is just the other side of it. Literally, just the other side, and those trees there ahead of us.
Oh, on the side of the railway?
Yes, the other side of the railway. So we need to find the underpass. Right, turns out then, there is no underpass here whatsoever. It just stops. That kind of adds up when you look at the definitive map, because the pathway breaks. Rebecca's just looked and found out that in 1961 there was an embankment collapse here, and it looks like British Rail didn't repair the underpass at the time. Yep. Bit disappointing they got away with doing that, but it looks like to get to that point there, which we can just see across the railway, we've got to walk about a mile all the way back down, back round. Sorry. So as we walk on this pathway south, we'll notice to our left there's a big, not a cliff edge, but very close to a cliff edge. But the path doesn't take that. The path kind of goes straight through it. And as I said, it's one of those hidden gems in this part of the country, a sunken lane. And already, what a shot ahead of us that makes. Look at that.
That's quite amazing.
So the route ahead of us, there's no marked pathway whatsoever, despite the fact it's a bridleway. So if we head on over all this shrubbery, it's recently been cut, I can see a sign ahead of us. Dead end, public right of way. No through route available. That's
So
very
you can't get
misleading,
through.
isn't it? It's very misleading.
And it's bright red. You kind of think it's going to be a private land.
Yeah,
But it's
and
not.
look at the route ahead of us. It's not well marked.
It's not managed.
Not managed at all. We've got to climb, do a bit of climbing there. But that's fine. Let's head on south and see what we find. But look what we're walking down. We're walking around another sunken lane, and it's beautiful. It's another part of this sort of trackway system around here, which is as old as I suspect you can imagine. It's really beautiful. It's quite difficult to walk on because it hasn't been managed, but it's really beautiful. Look ahead of us, Rebecca. This is in danger of being closed because clearly somebody wants it closed by the effective use of that signpost up there. But look at that. Right, we're not actually, well, we're about halfway down, I would say, this lane towards the railway. Now, the feature that I want to show everyone is like an old mansion, a ruined mansion that this guy built in the 1730s, Seymour and Wroughton. It's called Wroughton Mansion or Wroughton Folly. It's just there in the woods. But they blocked the pathway, and they've not only blocked the pathway with not a sign this time, but barbed wire, thick barbed wire all the way across in front of us. We're not halfway down the footpath, so I want to continue because the whole point is I want to have a look at this mansion. There's a lot of history down here, and this is an ancient trackway, sunken lane. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to walk down here. This is what this video is about. Right, so this is the end of that pathway officially. Definitive rights of way suggests it stops here, as we said when we were the other side. But we've made it to the bottom, sadly by climbing the barbed wire. Now Rebecca's pointed out that there's loads of old brickwork here, all hidden away in the rubble. And looking at the old maps, well, the pathway and the underpass would have gone down there, which adds up with the picture of the landscape. We've also got the folly just up here. Now, that was abandoned in, I think, 1790 when that chap was hit by a carriage and died in an accident. And the remains of it are pretty much all gone, I think, but there are some earthworks. Now, these earthworks here that form this shape in front of me, well, those earthworks are the foundations of the folly itself. So, again, you can come down here and you can see a 240-year-old hole in the ground. Basically, yeah. Hi, Bessie here. Yep, I am actually the brains behind this channel, not those two human beings. Don't let them tell you anything otherwise. So, action points for today. Go and have a look at a local map, an OS map of your area, and tell us if there's any pathways that just stop. I'm willing to bet you that they just vanish, and you can't actually even get halfway down them. Well, then leave us a comment below and let us know how you got on. And of course, you could always pop across to ramblers.org.uk and report it. Get involved, people, because there's always a bit of history at the end of one of those pathways. Thanks for watching, and of course a big thanks to our sponsor this week, who is Blinkist. You can check out their offer in the doobly-doo below. Bessie, out.